Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of December 12th, 2020. I am Caleb Black. This is Luke, the Big Dog Williams, our in-studio producer, the mighty Max Fury. We are back after a small intercession due to some scheduling constraints last week. We've got some more of those coming up, which we'll elaborate later on as the holidays approach.
Top secret project.
Top secret project. Luke, how the hell are you this Saturday?
I'm good. I'm ready for some wrestling talk.
So am I, and we got a lot to cover from the last 2 weeks. Last 3 weeks, really.
Yeah,
think about it. Max, how are you this Saturday?
I'm doing good. I've missed talking wrestling. I've missed Luke. I've missed our fans. I'm ready to do it.
Oh, you missed Luke. You didn't miss me, huh?
Randy Orton for life.
Yeah. Missed you with a fucking Mack truck.
Well, parts of him.
All right. Well, we are going to hop right into it with the news. Now, we are going to be recapping a lot of what's happened on TV in other segments. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff we had to cover. So we're going to talk about the most current news aspects right now.
Also, there's going to be stuff that we won't cover because we're not going to bore the people.
Right.
Throughout the episode.
Right. Like anything that happens on Monday Night Raw ever.
Or certain street fights.
Because we're gonna fight about this later. You'll see what you'll get it. Anyway, let's talk about the news. Big news today: the WWE, Vince McMahon has decided to send superstars back to the Performance Center because he questions their ability to wrestle. Now,
Yes.
There are some names on this list that don't necessarily surprise me.
Would you like me to fire off the list?
I absolutely would.
Okay, AJ Styles' bodyguard, which name escapes me.
Yeah.
Of course, he was the big black ninja that followed.
Still green, I get that.
Dabba-Kato.
Still green, I get that.
Toro?
Arturo Ruas?
Yes, he's one of them.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
The reason that they've sent him...
Well, he's going back to rehabilitate because of his injury.
Yeah, well, He also hurt somebody, and they think that he needs to...
fine-tune his jiu-jitsu ability and stop being a lethal weapon.
Correct. The only two... the rest of the two that's on the list that I totally don't agree with is Otis, your Money in the Bank winner.
Stupid decision.
And Keith Lee.
Even stupider, and stupider's not a good word or a real word, decision.
Okay, we're going to break this down here. Otis.
First of all, Otis was one of the top tag teams in NXT of his time, went to the main roster, and functionally, for the better part of 6 months, was in major tag team programs, and then they put the Money in the Bank contract on him. He's one of the most entertaining wrestlers, albeit limited athletically due to size and build, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing, and he does what he does well.
Also, probably the most... in my opinion, the most over storyline between 2019 and today was him and Mandy Rose.
Yeah, I agreed. He's actually a wrestler you can relate to and engage with and is comedic, but doesn't detract from the seriousness of what he's doing. He's not a joke wrestler.
No.
Sending him back to the performance, I could get if possibly there were some things they wanted to fine-tune with him athletically. That I could understand. But other than that, he's a damn good wrestler.
Well, also when you're pigeonholed into that gimmick,
right? There's not a lot you can do.
Right? What do they want for nothing?
Right.
Like, I mean, the man does a worm. First off, does the Vader bomb from the second rope? Everything looks tight. Everything looks smooth.
Yeah.
The transitions are great.
Doesn't hurt anybody.
He's gold on a microphone.
Yeah.
His gimmick with Gable is getting traction on SmackDown. Yep. I don't understand that, but then we go look at the other side of the token. Keith Lee is probably, pound for pound, the best big man in professional wrestling today.
Agreed.
The best big man on Monday Night Raw in the last, 8 years?
Agreed. The only thing that Keith Lee, I think, takes away from him is his promo. I say that because he is so well-spoken and so soft-spoken that it comes off as not intimidating. Does that make sense?
He's such a smooth operator.
Right. So if they were
it does, but when he first came into the WWE, I watched this special on him days ago, right, which is kind of odd that this actually come out and now where you're talking about it. His promos were handpicked, the style as what I mean is the style by the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. That's how he should do his promos.
Right. And
when it comes to promos, That's the guy you want on your side.
And I agree with that. I'm not saying he does a bad promo. I'm saying that because of the way he speaks, it comes off as less than intimidating. Now, we can back it up with his size, but I have noticed in a lot of his promos, there's not a whole lot of intensity or fire behind it.
And I get that, but when you look at it from the other side of the pillow, so to speak, the only reason it doesn't come off intimidating is because he's intelligent.
Well, I disagree with that.
But when you look at most big men and the way they cut their promos, it's always
I sort of say it's far and beyond Braun Strowman promos.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And when you think of the mind frame of the big man promo, that's why it seems like it lacks, because it's more intelligent than brute force.
See, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the actual vocal diction lacks the intimidating quality. He can say everything he wants to intelligently, but he's got to put some bass in it. He's got to have the right.
He's not scary.
Right. It's not the intensity is what's missing.
Right.
So I could understand sending him back to work on that, but sending him back to work on ring work.
I don't justify that being even we're sent back. He's not bad enough to send him back.
Oh, no, yeah, no, he's not a bad promo at all.
Sure.
Sending him back. I called when they first brought him up from NXT.
Yeah.
I called it right away. That's a bad move.
Yeah.
You need to keep him there for a little bit longer and develop a little bit more.
Well, and
I called it back then.
And the thing about it, they want to send him back now, but if they'd have left him in the position, remember, he came right off of dropping the North American title into winning the world title, and then lost the world title a month later. Didn't give him any time to season as a main event player in NXT.
Right. But as of now, I think, given the time, I think he's doing good. I don't think there's any reason to send him back just to
absolutely not. No.
Well, and not to mention he's your one of 3 viable contenders you could actually see beating Drew McIntyre for the title.
Well, who do they have trying to tell him how to be better?
Yeah. The 2 people who are in charge of the working with the big guys, Drew Gulak and Adam Pearce.
Okay, now how do either of those guys know how to teach a big guy how to wrestle?
Adam Pearce, to his credit, is roughly 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, but we're talking about from the weight standpoint.
Right. He's not a bit. Drew Gulak, all due respect, really position-wise, I understand working with guys like size-wise, I understand him working with a Gable or a Bryan.
Right.
Or a conditioning those guys. What can he possibly teach Keith Lee in regard to working as a man his size?
Okay. I mean, he could teach him if we're talking about big men.
He can teach him how to do things.
We're talking about big men who do submission holds or something like that, something that's in Drew Gulak's wheelhouse.
When I got into the business, one of the guys who was training me literally said, "You're too tall for me to teach you how to run the ropes."
Right.
Like, you were there. That happened. You're too tall. We need to get a bigger guy in here so he can teach you how to properly do it for a guy your size. And I'm only 6'1". So what business does a Drew Gulak, who's got to be 5'10",
I'm taller than Drew Gulak.
Teaching a guy like Keith Lee's size, I understand he's got experience as far as technical proficiency. No one can take that away from him.
No.
But if you want to teach mobility, no, what are you going to tell him to do?
You've got Otis and you've got Keith Lee, both of which are not technical wrestlers.
Right. Going back to learn to be better wrestlers.
Yeah.
You can't possibly say it's a size thing.
Well, first off, I'm going to tell you right now, as when it comes to all-around wrestling ability, Keith Lee has it above everybody in that list.
I agree. Completely.
And Otis, when it comes to likability and performance-wise, also has it in spades.
Yeah.
Drew Gulak is no personality whatsoever.
Right. He's a Lance Storm. Technically proficient, but
exactly.
Is a handsome stranger.
Big guy how to wrestle. Why not say Braun Strowman of all people?
Thank you. You want to talk about a big guy who needs conditioning, who needs to learn how to duck to and work.
I want to like him so much, and I just can't.
Yeah, between his shitty promos and his inaffability in the ring,
his smiling during promos as champion, playing the foil to Miz and Morrison made no sense.
Gross. Should never have a comedic aspect at all, and when he tries to,
unless you're manager,
look retarded.
Well, that's the whole point. He should have somebody speak for him. Yeah. Anyway, we're running late on that. WWE NXT India is scheduled to start
the expansion of the NXT program. Remember, the original plan for the WWE was they'd have an NXT in Japan, Mexico, Canada, UK, and have an entire territory building system.
Right.
And their next expansion after NXT UK is NXT India,
which is slated to take place in January.
Yeah. Interesting to note that obviously the UK and India have a working governmental relationship. So that probably opened up a lot of doors for them to get their foot in the door. They've already had some major Indian talents featured on NXT UK. I think the global expansion is going to be cool. It's another wrestling show to watch from some of the top trained athletes, and really don't see a lot of exposure.
No.
From wrestlers, near the Middle East. And so I think that's a really good move.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, also with the global market and the WWE network, it makes sense.
Not to mention, India's economy is so good. Right. So good.
Well, and the talent that comes out of there that, like you said, the lack of exposure. NXT UK is just now hitting that stride.
Where you have regular people that you know and recognize.
Right, and that you're being able to send to NXT and back and forth,
which
it helps.
Which kind of worked out. You notice, like, once NXT itself kind of had some personalities you could catch on to, then came NXT UK. Now that NXT UK has some established players, then we move on to NXT India.
Right, correct.
I think it's a very cool move. I'm excited.
Yeah, it makes 2021 more bearable than 2020.
Yeah,
but it makes the idea that we're going to get a new bar, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to actually get to see what it looks like from different parts of the world. Of course, like you said, started in the UK. Now we're going to get India. Hopefully, we'll get Australia. We'll get what has been planned for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
the expansion. I'm interested to seeing. I want to click on the network, and I want to be able to pick the territory that I want to watch, and then I want to cross them and see what has what.
I hope this global expansion continues, because honestly, I would love an NXT Mexico. An NXT produced lucha show would be just so good.
Agreed.
So yeah, I'm all for the NXT global expansion. What else did we have in the news? We got a couple minutes left.
Let's see. Injuries.
War Games. Injured everybody.
Candice LeRae out with a broken arm.
Bobby Fish.
Fish out with a torn tricep. Damian Priest due to injury due to Karrion Kross coming back suffered broken ribs.
Which we'll get into here in a little bit.
Thatcher had stitches in the ear. Oni Lorcan had stitches in several places in his face.
Oh, from the knee.
Yeah. And from what I understand, Gargano had his upper lip had to have stitches during the triple threat match at War Games. War Games, though, when you look at the way War Games is ran, you're going to have injuries, folks.
Yep.
It ain't ballet. And Randy Orton wasn't on the card, so it doesn't go smooth.
Eat my butt.
But a lot of injuries, but the show was great. People got to show off storylines that have been being built for months.
Hated War Games, but we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it in the recap.
But that's pretty much all we have for the news.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This week we have a ton of stuff to cover. We are going to talk about a wide variety of happenings and occurrences in the next couple of videos. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what we might have missed in the news for today and the previous weeks. Send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/prowrestlingthrowdown. Follow us on Twitter at prowrestlingtd. And when we begin live streaming again, which will happen relatively soon, we'll get into that at the end of the stream of videos this week. Find us on Twitch at Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Stay tuned.
But before we finish, we still have a minute left. Our condolences to the family of Zeus, who passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
As of the recording of this video.
Yeah.
It's sad to see anyone go down, especially somebody that's as talented. Most people know him as Debo in the Friday movies. The Dark Knight.
Yeah. I mean, a great scene in The Dark Knight.
He played Zeus for years. The Z Gangster in WCW.
When he throws that trigger out.
The real star of No Holds Barred.
Right. Yeah. But condolences, and stay tuned for more.
That's your chain, Debo. That's your chain.
It is his chain.